Almost 2 years ago, we discovered this little cottage down a country lane surrounded by trees and immediately fell in love with its potential, but it needed a lot of work, a lot of updating, and we started off by redoing the bottom floor, which is the kitchen and the dining area, and just kind of turned it into this cozy cottage kitchen space. We then tackled the laundry room, which was actually right off the kitchen, and we turned it into a beautiful laundry room slash butler's pantry, which turned out to be such a functional space for our family. We also upgraded one of the bathrooms, and it's still not done yet, but it does look so much better. And then lastly, we just completed a project that I cannot wait to share with you guys. Okay, you guys, I am so excited to be sharing this completed project with you. Designing this bathroom has been a challenge, but also such a joy, and I am so happy with how it all came out in the end. Quickly, let's just talk about the before. So it was basically a very just outdated, kind of not aesthetically pleasing, blank slate in a lot of ways. It was just plain white walls. We had a super old tile floor. There was a really cool old original tub in there, but it did not have a shower, which is not very functional, at least not as we move into the next few years with our kids. Another big difficulty with this bathroom was the only real storage were these enormous, very not well functioning giant drawers that barely opened, they barely closed. They were so massive that they were hard to organize, and they just had zero function whatsoever. And it was a pretty difficult project to design because it had a lot of limitations. So one being just the size in general. It's not a very big bathroom, and we need this bathroom to be, a hardworking, welcoming space for all 4 of our kids as they grow. We're also up on the 3rd floor in our little cottage style home, or carriage house style home. So we have a sloped ceiling on the one wall, so that was kind of difficult to work around. But all in all, I think I did a good job with bringing beauty into the space, but more importantly, functionality as well. Okay, that's enough talking. Let's go in so you can see how it turned out. Okay guys, so now you see the completed project. I would love to hear what you guys think down below, how you think it turned out. But I have to say this, I feel like I say this every time, but I think this is my favorite project that I've done to date. It's definitely, and maybe this is weird to say because it's a bathroom, but it's definitely my favorite room in the house. There's something about just walking in here. It has so much beauty and detail, and there's a lot going on, yet at the same time it is so calm and so serene. It's funny, our contractor, when I first showed him the wallpaper, he was like, I mean, I wouldn't put it in my house, but and I was like, trust me, I think in the end you're gonna like it. And he was like, you know what, you're right. It is somehow so calming in there. It's not busy, and it's just a cozy room. It feels like a hug when you walk in here. I used to dread doing bath time because I just didn't like being in that dingy bathroom, but now I truly look forward to it, and I actually really like hanging out in here. But the best part is not only does it look pretty now, but it is so much more functional. So I want to walk you guys through each and every fixture, different decision I made, as far as design goes, to kind of share with you just how functional this bathroom is now for our family. For this project, the very first thing we did was obviously demo, which there wasn't much to do. We just pulled the tub out, we removed the old cast iron sink, which I did save, and maybe someday down the line we'll have a project that I can use it in. But the main demo was just removing the old tile floor. Now my plan was to put white penny tile in here, but when we removed the old tile floor, lovely surprise, we actually found the original hardwoods underneath, which had to have been covered for a very long time because the previous owner of this house, I want to say lived here for at least 50 years, and he's passed away now, but I did get to meet his daughter, And when she saw that I posted that on Instagram, she was like, what? I had no idea that was under there. So these hardwoods were covered for a very, very long time, and we totally brought them back to life. They are absolutely gorgeous. We sanded everything down, got all like the gunk off, and we stained them with the Minwax, I think it's red chestnut, it's 232. And they're gorgeous. They just shine. I'm sad that these were ever covered up, but I absolutely love this color. This is any floors we've refinished so far in their house, which isn't much. This is the stain color we use because it matches the original pretty well. It's just this rich, warm red, which I love. Now, before we actually refinish the floors though, we did swap around the plumbing. So if you remember in the before, the tub was on this side of the room, the sink was on this side of the room, but we actually flipped the two. And the reason we did that was because for functionality, we absolutely had to have a shower in this room because we only had one shower in the house at this point. If you've seen any of my cottage videos, if you've seen our teeny tiny cottage bathroom downstairs, that's all we were working with. So with 4 kids, as they get older, I knew we needed a second shower. It was just a non-negotiable. So we wanted to put in like a shower enclosure over the clawfoot tub. I feel like there are some drawbacks to that, but we did also need a tub in here to bathe our kids. And we did briefly look into like, could we do some kind of like enclosed tile shower bath situation, but there just literally wasn't enough room for it. So I kind of wanted to keep the original tub anyway, so that's just what we went with. So we went with a shower enclosure over the cast iron, or clawfoot, no, it's actually not clawfoot, just the freestanding tub. But the reason we had to swap them is because on this side we have the slope ceiling, and it just didn't have the ceiling height to actually put the shower enclosure in, so we had to swap them. So the tub itself was in good shape. We did nothing to it. We just replaced all of the fixtures. So the tub faucet, the supply lines, the drain, obviously the whole shower enclosure with the shower head. We replaced all of that, and I actually went with a brushed nickel. I've always been a brass kind of girl, and there is some brass in this bathroom. I actually mixed some metals, which is the first time I've ever attempted to do that as well. But brushed nickel has more of a warm undertone to it, which is what I always gravitate towards, versus chrome is a lot more cool tone, kind of has that blue color to it. So I love the brushed nickel in here. It's just kind of fun and different for me, and also I just think it goes really well with the wallpaper. All of the plumbing fixtures are from Vintage Tub and Bath. I absolutely love that website. If you need like that old world kind of classic antique vibe when it comes to fixtures, there are so many like options. Like honestly, you could get like dizzy looking at all the options when it comes to plumbing fixtures nowadays, and I feel like most of them have more of that like modern look. But on Vintage Tub, everything they have does have more of that like antique old world feel, so it just kind of makes searching a little bit more simple. And I used their shower fixtures and plumbing fixtures really in our last house, in the farmhouse too, when we redid our master bathroom. I've always been really happy with them, and I love everything, all of the beautiful brushed nickel fixtures I picked out for this project. Another downside of having like a shower enclosure over a tub is you don't really have anywhere to put like your shampoo bottles and conditioner and soap and things like that. But we actually discovered during demo, when we took the mirror off the wall, that there was actually already a little like niche built into the wall, because there must have been a medicine cabinet at some point. I had no idea it was back there because I never took the mirror off. So that was a fun little surprise. And as soon as I saw that, I said, we have to keep that. So instead of, you know, covering it up, drywalling over it, our contractor just like trimmed it out, put some beadboard in there. So now we have this like perfect little peekaboo shower niche that you just part the shower curtains and there it is. And it's just a perfect spot to store all of those bottles and things that normally there wouldn't be a space for. Okay, now let's talk about probably my favorite thing in this whole bathroom, and that is the sink. This beautiful trough sink is also from Vintage Tub and Bath. And let me tell you, it was a splurge, but it could not be a more perfect fit for this bathroom. This particular sink for this particular space solved 2 main issues. One, with 4 kids in here, I knew we needed like ample sink space. Like a one sink situation would have just been really tough down the line and would have probably been a pain point always. So I knew that I needed a lot of sink space. So typically you would do like a double vanity with 2 sinks, which would have worked. However, if we had put a vanity in here, it would have stuck out really far and it would have made the space feel really tight. And I'm just always trying to think of like, how are we actually going to use this space? And I'm imagining years down the line, if we still live in this house and we've got 4, you know, teenagers in here trying to like brush their teeth in like the school morning rush, if they're like stuck between this little aisle between the tub and the vanity, like there's gonna be fights, you know, like it's just, I was like, we're not doing that. We need to like literally make this feel as big as possible, maximize the space as much as we possibly can. So this sink perfectly fit the bill. So it's massive. It's 48 inches long, plenty of sink space. There's so much room. But 1, it hangs on the wall, and 2, it's completely open underneath. So it doesn't stick out that far, so we have plenty of room like down this big aisle in the middle. And then also, since it's open underneath, it just really makes this room feel bigger than it is. The one thing we keep saying over and over is we just can't believe how big it feels in here. I think that has more to do with the tub being moved to this wall. It's kind of tucked along here instead of sticking out by itself on this side. But I also think the sink has so much to do with that. If we had a vanity, it would have felt so much smaller. These beautiful gooseneck faucets are also from Vintage Tub and Bath. I love them. They're huge. They're actually considered tub faucets, but they perfectly fit the scale of this massive sink, and I love them so much. They're also in that brushed nickel finish. And something I love about this particular sink, because there are other trough sinks out there that are similar to this, but they have vertical sink holes. And personally, I just don't like the look of that because you have, I don't know, I just personally think it looks kind of weird. And I just love the horizontal layout of the sink holes and then therefore the faucet so much more than that vertical. So you may be thinking, now with the sink just completely open underneath, there are no drawers, you've got 4 kids, like where's all the storage? And don't worry, I thought about that too. So 1, we stuck this little shelf right up above the sink because you need to have somewhere to put like toothbrushes and, you know, soap or whatever. You need some kind of surface area to be able to put things down. So that shelf fits the bill. You know, it's big enough to hold just the few items that you absolutely need right there. And I do actually have a question for you guys. I want your input. This is the only thing in the entire bathroom that I'm like, I might change that. So the little shelf, our contractor built it, and we ended up staining it the same color as the floor because I kind of wanted it to match. But this is a completely different type of wood, so it has a lot more of like a yellow tone to it. It doesn't have that warm, rich red. So I'm thinking about painting it the blue that's the same color as the trim, but I can't decide, and I don't want to do it and regret it. So let me know in the comments, do you think I should leave it as is, this, you know, slightly different color wood tone, or should I do what my gut's telling me to do and paint it blue? Okay, but back to storage. Now for the real storage. So if you remember when I said we had these massive, awkward, barely functioning drawers before. So those drawers were terrible, but what was great about those drawers was there was so much space to fill them with custom drawers that actually work. So we now have so much storage here. So there are 4 drawers across the top. They are really deep, they're fairly wide, they're very spacious, and will be so easy to organize and store all different kinds of things. My idea was kind of like, okay, each kid gets a drawer. We'll see how that works out as the years go by. But then on the bottom, we have these 2 huge drawers that are gonna be perfect for storing all of the towels, all of the linens, even like a cleaning caddy with cleaning supplies. I really thought through like, what am I actually, what storage do I really need? Like what do I not have that I really need like a spot to put things? And mostly when it comes to bathroom, it's the linens, it's the towels, it's all like your everyday products. And I'm sure as my kids get older, there'll be more and more of that, but we have plenty of space in here now. The drawers function beautifully and it's just more storage, I think, that we could ever need. Another thing we did to really maximize the space in here, and this made such a difference, was we changed this, the door to a pocket door. So before the door would open up this way, and it basically made this whole wall hidden and unfunctional, and then also it cut off a lot of the space because there was always a door right here. So we just took that same, I love all the old doors in this house, we took that same door, our contractor changed it into a pocket door. It really was a pretty, as far as I could tell, pretty simple process. And we just put a little pocket door latch on it, painted it obviously, and now it is just it feels so much bigger in here right when you walk in. It doesn't feel as tight, but also we now have this whole wall that is a functional wall that we can use for other things. And by other things, I made it into a towel rack. So with a pocket door, you don't have the ability to hang towels on the back of the door. And in this small bathroom, we don't really have a space for a towel bar, and knowing that, you know, there's gonna be several kids using this, a towel bar wouldn't even be that practical anyway, because you can really only fit really one towel on it. So instead we just have this wall of hooks. We've got 4 hooks here. I mean, we could technically fit 8 towels on here if we had to, or more, but I don't think we'll need that. But we've got a towel for each kid, plenty of towels, and then above it I just found this antique mirror on Facebook Marketplace. Not the most functional because it's kind of high up. It's just kind of like the way that it worked out because how high up the towel rack needed to be for the towels. But it does kind of help open up that space, helps light bounce around, and also it just makes this wall pretty. Speaking of mirrors, I forgot to mention, so obviously above the sink we have a sloped ceiling, so there's no place to put a mirror, and I was really kind of perplexed and also a little hesitant about even putting the sink on this wall because there'd be no mirror above it, and that just seemed really weird, which it is weird. But again, we had no choice. The tub had to go over here, sink had to go over here so that we could have a shower. So what I did was I found just a beautiful antique stand-up mirror on Facebook Marketplace. It perfectly tucks into this little corner next to the sink. And you know, while you're at the sink, you can look over into the mirror. You've got a full-length mirror, so when my girls get older, they can, you know, they have a mirror to look into. We also have this other mirror up on the wall. Plenty of mirror space, and honestly, when you're at the sink, it's one of those things that I thought so much about was just going to be a really big deal, but you don't even really notice it, especially with a mirror right there. Okay, now we have to talk about one of my absolute favorite elements in this bathroom, and that is the wallpaper. I love this wallpaper. It truly brings me so much joy. I love so many things about it. So I love that it's kind of a nod to the area we live in. Where we live, there is a lot of farmland, rolling hills, there's tons of trees, there's tons of deer and wildlife, and this just kind of mirrors really what's on the outside of our house in the area in which we live. And there is a lot going on. There's trees, there's different colors, there's animals, it's a fairly busy wallpaper, but the color scheme of it is so calming and so serene that it does not feel busy. And one of the really cool things about adding wallpaper to walls is it draws your eye out. So it makes the room feel so much bigger. This room used to be painted white before and it felt really small, and just adding the wallpaper, I mean, a couple other tweaks here and there like the door and moving the tub, but that alone has just made this room feel so much more expansive and like you can just like breathe in it. I really thought long and hard. I probably spent way too much time looking at wallpapers. And you know what's funny is I had actually picked out this wallpaper to put in the bathroom downstairs, and we just hadn't ever gotten around to it. I literally had the wallpaper at our house, and I was searching and searching and searching online, and I just couldn't find one that perfectly encompassed what I wanted. I wanted it to be some kind of landscape. I wanted it to be whimsical because this is a kid's bathroom, but most of the ones I found just look like they belonged in like a baby's nursery. I didn't want that because I wanted this to be like mature enough to where like an adult could use this bathroom and it didn't feel like a kid's bathroom. But it's a kid's bathroom. I wanted to have fun with it. I wanted there to be like that whimsical element. So this wallpaper, it has like the frolicking deer and it has the little rabbits hiding in the grass. So you get that whimsy, but it's also really sophisticated at the same time. So I feel like this is something that's going to easily grow with our kids, and it's not something that we're gonna like more sooner than we think be like, oh, so it's like a kiddie bathroom that they've outgrown. And we originally had planned to do beadboard in here about halfway up the wall, because that's just something that you always see in older homes, and I love that element. But when our contractor went to put it in, he was like, Becca, I need you to come upstairs. I was like, what's wrong? He was like, I'm not kidding you, I've never seen this before. He's like, I'm using my brad nailer. I'm trying to get these tiny little nails in the wall to get your beadboard up. And he was like, these walls are literally spitting them back out. They're flying back out of the wall. which is crazy. So that obviously wasn't going to happen. The only other option was to like glue it on, and we weren't going to do that, or rip out all the walls and drywall, and we absolutely weren't going to do that. So I said, okay, well, I guess we're not having beadboard. And honestly, it's one of those things where it worked out for the better, because I love this wallpaper so much that I think if majority of the wall was just covered with the blue trim paint, which I'll tell you what it is in a second, and the wallpaper was just at the top, it probably would have felt like it wasn't enough. Like I would have been like, oh, I wish we just put this all over the walls. So it ended up working out. I love it, even though it's busy. It's a pretty small space, and again, that calming color scheme, it just turned out perfect. Okay, and then lastly, the trim color. So the blue color that you see on the walls, it's this very, very muted, almost like a teal. It has definitely some of that teal in it, but it's blue, and it's by Benjamin Moore. It's the color Mount St. Anne, and I love it. Talk about a serene, calming blue. I basically went into the store with a swatch of the wallpaper, and I tried to find a blue that perfectly matched the wallpaper, and I think I did a pretty good job. So we painted the window trim, all of the trim around the floor, and then obviously the door and the drawers. Everything is just like washed in this beautiful, calming blue color, and I just love it. And the only other thing I haven't mentioned are these cutie little prints that are hung above the toilet. A friend of mine who actually has like real experience and went to school for home design always says that no project is complete with without a little bit of or antique or vintage art. So of course I knew I had to find something to put in here, and I found these little prints at a local antique store, and I love them. They totally match the color scheme. The frames perfectly match the warm wood flooring and mirrors we have in here. They just absolutely belonged in here. One is like a little farm scene from like back in the 1800s, and the other one is like a country scene from back in the 1800s. I feel like this is literally like what our area looked like in the 1800s here on the East Coast, and they just fit perfectly in here. It's like just enough, and I love them. Oh, and one last thing, the rug that we have on the floor is from Ruggable, because you gotta have something that you can throw in the wash in a bathroom. It's just practical. So this is one of their, I'll link it, but it's one of their rugs from the William Morris collection, which again is kind of a nod to that English cottage style, that I love so much, and I'm trying to emulate here in this house that was built to emulate, you know, like a little cottage in the Cotswolds. So that's the rug that we have in here. Very practical, also beautiful, and I love that too. Okay, you guys, so that's everything for the bathroom. I hope that you guys have enjoyed coming on this fixer-upper journey with us thus far as we continue to check projects off our list. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already if you enjoy this kind of content, because there are lots more projects to come. I also love sharing about wellness and living a healthy lifestyle and healthy cooking for my family in our little cottage kitchen. So if any of that interests you and this video is the first of mine that you've ever seen, please subscribe and stick around. And don't forget to comment, let me know what you think I should do with the shelf. Keep it stained, paint it blue. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.